Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request from Jose Ballard. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any other type of videos, reviews, topics, reactions, re-reviews, randomness, or pretty much anything in between, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. So the topic at hand, and he sent this to me, he wanted me to make a video talking about the rumors for Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire returning. I would like your thoughts on it and if you think it will ever happen. I also want your thoughts on what I want to happen, but it's probably really pushing it. I would like a new trilogy, Spider-Man 5 and 6, with villains like the Lizard, the Vulture, the Scorpion, and Electro. I know we agree to disagree, but I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Best version of Spider-Man by far, in my opinion. Well, we agree to disagree. I prefer the 90s cartoon. I even prefer... What was the other cart? There was another cartoon I saw a review. I prefer the cartoons. I've liked quite a few of the incarnations of the cartoons. I'm not a fan of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But this piece of news, I'll get to your... what you want in a new trilogy. I'll read the news piece first. This is a grain of salt. Grain of salt. This is a rumor. A new insider report claims that Sony Pictures has reportedly expressed interest in bringing back director Sam Raimi and star Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man 4, continuing the franchise they started back in 2002. This heavy speculation that Maguire will return to the role for MCU Spider-Man No Way Home, along with Andrew Garfield, but that both Marvel and DC are planning on going to some crazy places as they branch out into exploring the multiverse. The report goes on to state that, for now at least, this is simply an idea that is being considered by Sony and that neither Sam Raimi nor Tobey Maguire have yet discussed the possibility of a fourth movie in their Spider-Man series. The hope, though, is that Raimi will return to direct, with Maguire suiting up once again, and that Spider-Man 4 would somehow work as a spin-off from whatever takes place in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which of course is being helmed by Sam Raimi. As far as ridiculous rumors go, a lot of the pieces do fit together quite nicely. While it is unknown how much of the MCU would be folded into Spider-Man 4, it is more plausible that the movie would stand alone, much like DC is doing with the Batman, and would enable both Raimi and Maguire to continue their respective franchise. Spider-Man 4 was once on the cards at Sony, with the plan for the movie to follow 2007 Spider-Man 3 and to be released May 2011. Production was started, which would have brought back the principal cast. Sam Raimi was also planning on showcasing the transformation of Dr. Kirk Connors into the Lizard, with Dylan Baker set to reprise the role. It was reported at the time that John Malkovich was in talks to play the Vulture, with Anne Hathaway playing Black Cat. Sadly, Sony canceled the movie in January 2010, with Raimi never settling on a script he was happy with. Whether any of these ideas would be carried over into the rumored Spider-Man 4 is unknown, but it could prove interesting should the movie decide to focus on a more aged Spider-Man, similarly to how Sony Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse told the story of Peter B. Parker. Again, this rumor seems to be on the crazier side of cinematic speculation, but with both Marvel and DC looking to move into space and alternate universes, with Spider-Man being such hot property, it certainly makes sense that Sony would want to keep doubling down on the adventures of the popular web-slinger. There are no doubt lots and lots of Spider-Man fans who will love to see Spider-Man 4, but can Sony really persuade Raimi and Maguire to do it? Tom Holland will reprise the role for Marvel's upcoming MCU sequel, Spider-Man No Way Home. These titles suck, by the way. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. What's that? Spider-Man Homeschooled. Teaming up with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, No Way Home will throw Peter Parker and his chums into the madness of the multiverse. Spider-Man No Way Home now scheduled to swing into UK and US cinemas on December 2021. Well, when is the Doctor Strange movie supposed to come out? Or is this... that comes out supposed to lead to the Doctor Strange film, I guess? Courtesy of giant freaking robot who have had much more far-fetched scoops work out in the past. So, let's get back to to the beginning here. The rumors. Could it happen? Yes, it could happen, but you have to also understand with the pandemic, with what has all happened, I would imagine the studio would be much more cautious on how they spend their money because they can't rely on hundreds and hundreds of $1 million box office sales like they did in the past, where they release a film and more than likely they'll get 1 billion worldwide. So they don't have to be more cautious with the way they spend money, which means they have to be more cautious on, will this make bank for us? Will this be successful? Will this be fruitful for our monetary gain? Now, there is a fan base for Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I think there would be a fan base that would watch and go see Spider-Man 4. So, could it happen? I mean, there's been crazier things that have happened. Yes. I would say it will happen. Okay, this is the thing. When Spider-Man, the new one comes out, and if a Tobey Maguire is in it, it will depend on how successful the movie is, and more importantly, how much Tobey Maguire and his scenes are talked about. If the movie's a big success and there's a big fervor, and there's a big, huge rumbling that, oh, we want this, then maybe they'll be like, hey, you know what? Sam Raimi worked with Doctor Strange. He's getting his toes dipped into the comic book movie universe again. Tobey Maguire, if he liked what he was doing, he's like, you know what? This felt good. I want to do it again. At least one more time. Then maybe they'll do it. Do I look forward to it? No. Why would I look forward to it if I didn't like the other Spider-Man films? I'm not a fan of Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I mean, I say that, like, Spider-Man 2 I don't think is a bad film. I'm just saying I'm not a big fan of it. Because Tobey Maguire, the way he played the character, it's more Opie Taylor. If you know the Andy Griffith Show, it's more, to Sam Raimi is more of a fan of the Spider-Man when he grew up. When he grew up with Spider-Man, the comics he was reading was the Peter Parker that you first saw him as, very much that 1950s like mentality, ma, apple pie, golly gee willikers type of Peter Parker, because that was the time frame those comics were made in. So it makes sense that Sam Raimi, those are the comics he grew up with, that's his Peter Parker. Now, I like those comics, but that's not the Peter Parker I grew up with. The Peter Parker I grew up with is more of the 80s and 90s, where Peter Parker was a man and acted normally. Like, imagine John McClane in the first Die Hard, but not cussing. If John McClane in the first Die Hard didn't cuss, that's sort of the mentality. Not saying Bruce Willis himself. I'm saying that sort of everyman, wise-ass type of character. I think that's how I viewed Spider-Man when I read those comics growing up. When I was reading that type of stuff. I'll try to see if I have any comics here. Damn it, no I don't. But, so I can't look forward to it if I didn't, I'm not really big on especially Spider-Man 3. I hate it, but I'm not really big on those, so why would I be that gun-ho about it? I guess is my question. But a lot of people like those, so yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, there's no audience. There is a big audience. If Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire said they're doing another Spider-Man, there would be a big audience, and I think, yeah, the studio could capitalize on that, especially if the new Spider-Man comes out and there's a big word of mouth and fervor on, oh, it's great to see him again. And then maybe, again, Tobey Maguire's like, wow, it was good to play this again. And Sam Raimi's like, oh, yeah, I like what they did, and I'm doing Doctor Strange, and so yeah, it could happen. As for what plot they would use, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of villain. I mean, if you don't make a return, I don't know if the lizard or the vulture, Electro. The problem with those is we've already seen iterations of those. We've seen a vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. We've seen a lizard in The Amazing Spider-Man. We've seen an Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Granted, you haven't seen this versions, but for a comeback movie to use a villain that people have already seen before, I don't know if that would be... I don't know if people would be like, because already there would not be like a first time viewing. Yeah, first time of their interpretation of it. But it's like, oh, Electro, okay. Is it going to be like this one? I mean, you're already making comparisons. And then for a new villain, I don't know what they could use. I don't know if Scorpion would be a strong enough for the idea. I don't know what story would be strong enough for it. I really don't. I mean, you say you want a new trilogy, Spider-Man 5 and 6, villains like the Lizard, Vulture, Scorpion, Electro. Does that mean two villains per each movie? If that's the case, then who would be the villain in Spider-Man 4? Again, I don't know. And that's it. I don't know what story you would tell. I don't know what tone. Will the tone still be in that campy tone that were the previous Spider-Man films? If so, I don't really want to see that. Or do I want to see more Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane? I wasn't really a fan of her. Oh, they don't have Mary Jane more to do, and she just turned to Spider Woman, just like they're doing with the new Thor film. There's going to be the female Thor and all this other stuff. I mean, I don't know. The rumor, it could happen. Again, I would say when the new Spider-Man comes out, about 2 weeks, you're probably going to hear rumblings whether it is or isn't going to be made. I would guess on that. Plus, like I did say, Raimi's doing the new Doctor Strange. I don't know when that's coming out either. I know it's getting darker. I know, but your thoughts on what you want to happen? I mean, Lizard, Vulture, Scorpion, Electro. Again, 3 out of those 4 villains we've already seen in other iterations. So yeah, I know to see their iterations, but I think for some people there'd be a been there, done that format. But I mean, maybe I don't know. But I did none of this. I can say is really exciting for me. And it definitely be one of those things where since Sony like they made the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, would Disney give them? Would they need Disney's permission to do that? If that's the case, would Disney be like, well, you're competing with our movies now. Like your Spider-Man is competing with our Spider-Man, so they don't have to think, do they want competing Spider-Man? Because it's, well, your Spider-Man movie became much more successful and popular than ours, and then will Disney get butthurt if that happens and feel embarrassed as like, do we really want to risk that embarrassment? So there could be friction between Disney and Sony on that. Well, we have our Spider-Man, and then you're doing your Spider-Man, competing Spider-Man. Like, okay, it's cool because Tobey Maguire Andrew is going to be in our film, and we'll probably prop our Spider-Man up. You would think that's what will happen in the new Spider-Man film. Is Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, if they're in it, those Spider-Man is going to prop up Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I would assume that would be the reason, as well as, oh my god, I'm curious about it, let me go see it to rise box office dollars. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe I'm wrong. So I think there's quite a few hoops to get to it. there's always a chance. There's always a chance. But again, would I look forward to it? No. Your ideas, sure. I mean, I guess if they want it, I don't think if somehow it gets made, I would not be surprised if it's a one more time thing. Hey, one more time, boom. We ended on a. They don't like Spider-Man 3. They ended on their terms. Hey, we got to end it on our terms with our creativity, without interference. Boom, done. Because these people are getting older, and these films take so much. Is it like 2-3 years in between a movie? And let's think about this. Let's say you want to do it. The earliest at all would be 2022, the earliest, and then you may see it in 2024, 2025 at the earliest. And then that's regarding if the pandemic shit calms down. And then, I mean, we have films from last year that still haven't been released. Let alone any other films that get pushed back more and more and more. So yeah, there's always a chance, and if there's a chance, maybe one more film, and it would not be called Spider-Man 4, it'd be called Spider-Man The Return. I don't know, Spider-Man colon whatever, blah blah blah. Spider-Man Resurrection. I don't know what it'd be called. Whatever. So yeah, if you look forward to it, that's cool. Not for me. I would rather see Thomas Jane's The Punisher return. There you go. Let Thomas Jane be the Punisher again. I want to see that movie. Team up with Dolph Lundgren's the Punisher. There you go. But yeah, Dolph Lundgren's the Punisher. I want to see him again. I'd rather see that. I'd rather see, or Thomas Jane's the Punisher. I want to see him again. Have Thomas Jane's the Punisher go after Spider-Man. There you go. Or, but they have the TV show, Netflix show, which then they canceled, and then they're not doing anything with Punisher. So what do I know? With that said, if you look forward to it, that's cool. Just not for me. So before I go completely dark, since it's getting darker as I'm doing this, we will see you guys later. Take care. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.